If you don't have as many research projects as you want to right now, it's because you don't have the right strategy. Behind your Step 2 score, research is the most important part of your residency application at the end of medical school. And if every time you think about research, you feel yourself getting flustered and confused because you don't know where to start, or if you just want to avoid getting to the end of medical school to realize on match day that you clearly didn't have enough research to match where you wanted to, I'm going to cram everything I learned over the last year and a half of trying to figure this out into this video for you, including things I've actually paid to learn. Over that time, I've gone from having 0 to 8 projects in just a few months, and you could just do 1 or 2 of the things that I say here and you'll be exponentially better than you were before watching this. Number 1, on your first project, humble yourself and go ahead and join an M3 or an M4 or somebody else's research project, because this way you're going to be able to learn how they do things and how they think. You're going to learn how to ask research questions in the first place, how to apply to conferences and then present the research, and ultimately how to apply for publication. What you want to do here is over-deliver on every single thing that they ask you to do, and if service is below you, then leadership is above you. You have to start by learning the basics and the ropes. I know that we all want to start by being first author on the first paper that we even start out with as perfectionists and med students, but trust me on this, join somebody else's projects and you'll learn so much easier the first time. Number 2, connect yourself at all costs. Research requires collaboration at the end of the day. We like to work by ourselves as medical students. We're used to this when we're studying and moving more efficiently through things, but research requires collaboration and working through things as a team. Start by working with the connections that you actually have at your medical school first, okay? So if you know an M3 or an M4, great, and they happen to be interested in the specialty that you want to do research in, go ahead and talk to them. If you don't, that's also fine. If you know an M3 and M4 and they're not particularly interested in your specialty, what you're going to do is ask them if they know somebody that is interested in your specialty or doing research in your specialty. If you don't have any of the above, that's fine too. You can just start asking other people in your class or even M2s if they know any upperclassmen or people that are going to be applying to the specialty of interest. If you still can't figure it out, ask faculty and administration to see if they actually know people that are currently applying, because ultimately you need to find an upperclassman with experience that's currently in that sweet spot where they're about a year or less out from application. Number 1, they're going to be doing the most research, and number 2, they're actually going to tangibly feel what it feels like to be applying, and they're going to know all of the most pertinent information to give you. Trust me, they are a gold mine. And a common theme here is literally just try to be as resourceful as you can. Just use your brain and rack it to think, how can I figure out where people are matching? So at my school, personally, they released a match list each year of the people who were 4 years ahead of me when I applied, where they matched in the specialty that they matched in, and I was able to call them to see how did you do this and talk to them about their research. And as a bonus, if you really want to overachieve, if you just happen to have a friend at another medical school, you can apply the same exact logic and just try to network your way in through their medical school, and then bonus points if their medical school happens to be more competitive than yours. Number 3, once you found that person, you're going to go ahead and email or message them. So you might be thinking that I'm about to tell you to directly message them and say, hey, are you doing any research? I would love to join you. And no, that's wrong. The best way to do this actually is to go ahead and introduce yourself. So what you're going to say is, hey, I saw that, so-and-so recommended me to you and you're a great resource in this field. Or if you didn't have somebody directly mention their name, you can just say, hey, I saw that you were particularly interested in this specialty or applied to this specialty and that you would be a great resource. I would love to take a few minutes to pick your brain, to have a meeting or even a quick phone call with you. I would love to catch up and just talk about how the application process has been for you, where you're at in your medical journey right now. I would love to hear about some of the challenges and successes that you've had along the way. And I know that you're very busy, so I can try to be as flexible as possible with my schedule. And I want to make it clear that's not insincere just because you're not addressing the fact that you want to do research with them, because you're actually going to be benefiting and you need the information that they're going to give you about their experiences in medical school. These people are 2 years ahead of you, 3 years. It's just going to be so much more information that you don't have at the tips of your fingers right now that will move you forward. Honestly, you may even find more benefit in the fact that they're being able to offer you all of this advice, more so than the actual research that you potentially get out of it. And let's also just set the expectation that the first time you do this, it's not going to work. No research is going to come out of it or advice, or that person's not going to meet with you. In reality, you may have to try a couple times depending on your school or depending how close your connection is to that person. Really, most of the time though, this will work. Number 4, come insanely prepared to the meeting. And this seems so obvious, but I can guarantee you that most people will not do this. Actually list out how you think the conversation is going to go on a big document and try to make all the questions that you want to ask as clear as daylight so you can make sure you hit all of the points. You're going to be asking them about their experiences through school, and then sometime at the end of that conversation, if you feel that everything is going smooth and that you're making a connection with that person, because 99% of the time, since research is so important in medical school, they're probably going to have already brought it up and it's going to flow more smoothly in conversation. But if they don't, just go ahead and assume that they won't. then somewhere at the end of your conversation script that you write out, have a question about research, like how has it been going for you so far, and what are some of the challenges that you've been able to overcome with research. Ensure you're learning from everything they say and making notes about what they're talking about, and then if it makes sense somewhere in the conversation, say I'm happy to help contribute to a research project that you're working on right now. And then afterwards, even if they don't immediately say that they want to put you on a research project, because that didn't happen in my case, actually try to keep in touch and be intentional about every month. Try to text or email them to ask them how things are going or any questions that you have about the application. And they're going to keep you in mind so that when the time does inevitably come around that they need to have somebody contribute to a project and get things moving towards publishing, that they will put you on. Number 5, get in touch with research mentors. And if you're not following the logic of my advice so far, what actually happens is that when you join somebody else's project, you join with somebody else's faculty member or PI, and you get that connection. Number 1, if you work hard and you build rapport with that faculty member, it's going to improve your credibility, and you can just reach out to them with your project afterwards. So now instead of a cold email, you have a warm email. They know you, they know that you work hard, and they're that much more likely to help you get published. Number 6, you can cold outreach if you have to. This is the edge case that won't apply to 99% of you. You can do what I just said. But if for some reason you feel that the only way you can proceed is to cold outreach a faculty member, there are a couple ways that you can do this. Number 1, you can just shadow and try to find faculty connections that way. Number 2, you can work with residents, and when you're on rotations in the hospital, you can ask about research. And then number 3, oftentimes departments will have medical student research wait lists that you can join, and you can get a project that way as well. Number 7, pre-complete as much of the work on the research paper as possible before you reach out to the faculty member. And I cannot emphasize this enough. In my opinion, this is the most important part of getting a faculty member on your paper and getting published. So let me ask you, put yourself in the shoes of a busy faculty member that works in a hospital. Now, if a student approached you and had a fully written manuscript and abstract, and all you had to do was read over it, offer edits, and then sign off on it so that they could submit for a manuscript, how many times out of 10 are you going to say no to that, given that it's a reasonably good project, you've worked with this student before? Again, if this is the project that you decide to be first author on after that initial research paper, and if you just know that the work makes sense. My point is that if you actually do this, which by the way, most people will not do, and it's going to set you apart, and you triple check your work before sending it to the faculty member, then I don't care what your other classmates say about, well, this doctor doesn't really do that much research and it's hard to get on board with them. It's going to drastically improve your odds of working with them. And even in the small case that it doesn't work out, you have an almost fully completed research project that I can guarantee you almost any other faculty member will accept. Number 8, meaningfully contribute to the project. Go ahead and assume that everybody else working with you is more busy and more important than you. Nowadays with internet and AI, you can literally solve 99% of problems before you even need to reach out and ask somebody about them. For me personally, I literally learned how to code and do statistics, which I had no idea how to do before, just by looking them up before I had to reach out to ask for help. Over deliver on everything you do. So if you're unsure whether something you wrote needs to be polished off, or citations should be added, or format should be taken into consideration, or that your figures should be made to look better, just go ahead and do it. Because the faster that you do things and the better you do them, other people in your group will actually take notice of that and start moving more quickly themselves, and the project will be so much better because of it. And speaking of, even if you don't have timelines in place on when you should turn something around, even though you are very busy in medical school, set a timeline for yourself or make a standard in the group that whenever somebody says they're going to do something, that they set a date that they're going to have it done by. That way people know what the projected timeline is for the project and things move so much more smoothly. At the end of the day, you want to reduce the proportion of the total time that the project takes in which you are the limiting reagent and other people are waiting on you to do something. Number 9, find conferences to present at and find journals to publish in. This is going to make sure that you cover all your bases and that you have a regional, a national, and a manuscript for each project that you do. That way you cover your bases with ERAS and you get the experience presenting and the feedback that you need on your project to make sure that when it's published, it has the most accurate and up-to-date qualifications. Number 10, what to expect. So I can guarantee you that if you have strong work ethic, you're willing to make mistakes, and you have patience with this process, that you are guaranteed to improve your research output by doing this. And what actually happens in the ideal position that I want to get you all to is that you're going to have to start turning down projects, and this will help you start to choose projects that you actually want to work on after you get a few under your belt and you get the experience, and you can work with other underclassmen or people in your class to get things published the way that you want. So with all of that being said, I want to highlight something here, which is that learning is actually not just taking in information, but it's changing your behavior in the same conditions based on what you learned. So if you just watch this video and don't do anything about it, nothing is going to change for you. But if you can can, please implement just a couple of the 10 things that I just told you, and don't let this information come in one ear and out the other, and you will thank yourself later. Instead of asking yourself if this strategy will work for you, tell yourself that you're gonna make this strategy work. If you want more videos about specific strategies or med school advice in general, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.